good morning once again, everybody. And now we are moving forward to the second session of the day by Ahmedabad chapter on HR Goes Agile, key enabler in enterprise agile transformation. And we have Preeti Vyas today with us to talk about this amazing topic. She's an enterprise agile transformation consultant and coach at Tata Consultancy Services, and we are eager to explore more about this functional role adapting to agile in organizations. So let's explore with Preeti around this topic. And before we begin with the session, I would like to thank our founding sponsor, Innovation Roots, which is a leading consulting and training service provider, helping organizations to achieve business agility and beyond. It is one of the leaders and pioneers of niche publishing services and well known for content collaboration with global thought leaders, authors, and creators. You can log on to www.innovationroots.com for more information. We also would like to thank Gile for sponsoring Agile Network India. Gile is a product offering from Tata Consultancy Services. It is a purely cloud-based enterprise agile planning tool along with DevOps capabilities. Enterprises can use Gile to adopt agile practices or scale across multiple Scrum and Kanban teams using enterprise scaling frameworks such as SAFe, Disciplined Agile, LESS, and more. You can try out Gile for free up to 20 users for a 30-day trial, and you can sign up for the same at gile.io. You can reach out to us for any inquiries, or if you wish to set up an exclusive product demo of Gile, you can check out the Gile page on Agile Network India's website for more information, and you can find out the details in the chat for the link. And now, without any further ado, let me call upon Preeti to share her thoughts around HR Goes Agile. Welcome, Preeti. Welcome for this session.
Thanks, Nupur. I think she already introduced me. So I'm with Tata Consultancy Services. I'm the Enterprise Agile Coach and Consultant. I started off my Agile journey back in 2009. Of course, that was more of exploration rather than going through any particular certificates. 2010 is when I got my first certificate, that is Certified Scrum Master. And I think thereafter, it's been one of a very memorable journey throughout. I have been an avid reader, globetrotter, of course, pre-COVID era, but then it gave me a lot of opportunity to kind of, interact not only with the very different executives and all, but maybe people from different culture, different organizations, different geography, different language. So it's been kind of, very different, very memorable journey. And today, I'm here to talk about one of the topics which is close to my heart. See, when we talk about enterprise agile, we always think, earlier, a few years back, when everybody would think of agile, we would think that maybe the methodology of the project is agile. It's Scrum, it's Kanban, and lot many other things. It used to be more about, the IT outcomes, right? Or IT outputs. Or the velocity of the team and all. But if you really look at the way it has changed in last few years, it has changed really drastically. And everybody now accepts there is not even a debate about why agile or why enterprise agile. So I will not even go there, right? But when any organization embarks upon enterprise agile journey, whether they start with collaboration with business, whether they focus only on IT agile or whatnot, one particular backbone or the kind of the very strong foundation that organization needs to lay out often goes unnoticed. And that is about HR. Now, when I talk about HR as a human resource, the intent here is not to talk about the function. The intent here is to talk about the enablement, the pivotal role that any human resource department really plays, which is very vital to any organization's success, right? So, if we look at, of course, the intent here is not to take you through all the functions, but typically you would see whether the organization is very large, TCS about 470,000 plus people, or there is a very small company, let's say about 50 or 60 odd people, right? The key functions of HR, you would see that it changes drastically. But by and large, you will see that typically you would see some variation, some elements of all of the 12 functions that I have mentioned here. It could be from taking care of employees for their personal well-being. It could be about the human resource planning. It could be about how do we insource right talent from the outside. It could be about the performance management, which is again a very, very crucial, very, very important aspect, right? More importantly, once anybody joins, how do you help them into career planning, learning development, and so many things. As I mentioned, the idea here is not really to go into each and every functions of human resource, because frankly speaking, I also don't belong to human resource function. So maybe I may not even be able to present the angle that they kind of go through. But out of my interactions with all of the customers, executives, big or large organizations, what I have come to realize that we often overlook the enablement functions out of the entire enterprise agile journey. More focus is on technological aspects, more focus is on the IT aspects. So today I'm here to talk more about how I see and how I have observed the organizations taking a very different perspective on the functions of enablement of HR, which is human resource development. See, gone are the days wherein we used to have, annual cycle, appraisal cycle, or human resource means instructor-led training, maybe once in a quarter, once in a year to a very exotic, location. If we really look at right the way the work environment is changing, digital transformation has picked up its pace, and in fact, if you really see last one and a half year, you think about any person, whether it's students, it's the housewives, or even the engineers, or anybody who does their work. I think somewhere or the other they have embarked or they have imbibed the digital transformation, and this has really pushed the organizations also to kind of accelerate their journey. That's one. Second thing, if you really look at, I mean, maybe 5 or 10 years back, if you really think about, the technology aspect, right? Maybe you would hear about Java or .NET or something. But now every other day you will come across, many different new technologies. What it means that the new age skills, which is very, very essential for the workforce, how do you prepare themselves for the same? And then, of course, newer ways of working. TCS actually has patent on location independent agile. So many years ago, we started talking about it, really mastered the art of how do we use various enablers. But now again, if you really look at last one and a half year, right, pretty much everybody is working in a very collaborative mode, very remote mode. The very reason we ourselves are having this event today, all of us are sitting from the comfort of our home and doing that, right? So how do we make sure that organizations are able to keep up the pace with newer ways of working? So when you look at all these dimensions, right, what is much more important is, of course, winning in the marketplace is must, because otherwise any organization will not be able to survive in the industry. But then if you really want to win in the marketplace, first, charity begins at home, so you really have to win in the workplace, right? So this is one of the famous quote by Douglas Conant, and I really like it, because it's not really about customers. Of course, they are very, very important, but then if you really want to win the customers also, maybe it's good time to start focusing on the people. Now, what all key tenets of HR could be there? One is, of course, the flexible organization structure and culture. Any agile framework that you take, or any mechanism, scaling mechanism that you take, I think more and more people are talking about communities of practice, flexible organization structure and culture. How people, I think previous session, Ashwini was talking about value stream, right? So how do you ensure that all the collaborative cross-functional groups are able to come together for one particular value delivery. So it doesn't say that the organizations, hierarchical organizations, are completely out. Of course, maybe we need both. So how HR has to think about the new structure that has to evolve over a period of time. Second thing is learning. I think needless to say, many companies I see, many employees on LinkedIn, I see that they are really talking about their certifications that they have acquired. They are talking about learning hours. In fact, new millennials has a very different way of learning, right? So how do we continue to learn continually, and if that is the paradigm shift that every employee needs to take, how HR can be an enablement function. So here I'm not really talking about how HR as a function they internally transform. Of course there are many examples here. The more focus is how HR, human resource department, can play a pivotal role in helping any organization to transform. And when I say HR, I'm talking about all the 12 functions that I briefly spoke about. Talent sourcing, again, I think one of the very key aspect you will see is talent sourcing. Now, gone are the days wherein any new blood which is coming into the company, it is purely coming because of the technical skills or maybe domain knowledge or maybe some of the niche skills. More and more people are getting onboarded because of the right attribute, whether they are a team player, right? Whether they can really fit into this VUCA world wherein even what will happen after 3 months, what strategies will take place, is not known. How people who are of very adaptable nature, who can adjust, who can really change their strategy, their learning, their habits, their patterns over a period of time. I think that becomes a very integral part of your talent sourcing. And even more so, how do we engage with the talent even before they are coming to the organization? So if you really see, the outlook of human resources department itself is changing. I think one of the very important topic and very close to everyone's heart and mind, right? Performance management. Gone are the days wherein typically February, March or so, you will see 1 or 2 months of very strenuous exercise of performance management. When we are talking about 2 weeks of sprint or iteration, many MVPs going, how they can also become part of the performance management, right? I mean, how do we ensure that continuous feedback is kind of given? In fact, if I talk about my own organization, we have a mechanism of continuous feedback. It doesn't have to wait. Even goal setting doesn't have to wait that all the goals has to be assigned in one go. Of course, over a period of time, as and when visibility comes in fact, new goals can be added, those can be evaluated, continuous feedback mechanism. Many organizations have already moved and many others are moving. So, couple of aspects that needs to be enabled here is, how do we move into continuous feedback cycle rather than annual appraisal cycle? How it can be more based on team. Essentially, when you talk about agile scrum, the focus is much more on the team deliverable, team outcome, team performance, right? So when we talk about performance management, why does it have to be done on an individual level? Can the outcome or the value delivery that team has done be part of the performance management? That is again the question on many HR management's mind. And of course, as I mentioned, continuous feedback is the key here. Employee engagement, needless to say, I think when everybody used to be in office, you will see a lot of events and a lot of things happening. It's very easy to see people around and see whether they are engaged, whether they are learning, they are happy or not happy. But now, when every one of us is sitting at home, how HR has to ensure they have to think through that employee engagement is continuously there. And in fact, you see many of the organizations HR taking a very crucial role, not only on well-being, psychological safety, making sure people are okay, but even if I talk about TCS, COVID Care Center or vaccination drive and all, right, wherein HR is playing a very crucial role. Continual innovation, again, none of us can really go and say that yes, we had so and so very best practices. In fact, organization like TCS, very big very much known for very robust practices and experience. But there is a need for enabling environment wherein people come together for continuous hackathons or maybe design thinking, problem solving. How do they get into continual innovation mindset? How do they go from just small improvement to growth and transformation mindsets? I think this is one of the key function that HR kind of tries and ensure. So now this is at a high level. We also showed that these are some of the key functions, but maybe I would like to now talk about one of the case study, one of the actual experience with one of the customer. So here, this is one of the leading digital services and communication provider embarking upon enterprise transformation. So they already knew that they really want to embark on enterprise agile transformation, and the business drivers for the same where they really wanted their teams to kind of their entire organization to kind of come together and focus on quality of the deliverable. They really wanted to launch new features, new products to the market, right? So IT department had already embarked upon the journey. But what over a period of after 1 or 2 years, I realized that until unless the surroundings, the enabling functions around the employees doesn't change, it will not really be able to give the benefits that it would need. So they thought they really needed to transform the way of working their employees kind of engage, or maybe all the 5-6 aspects that I talk about in the beginning, right? So what they wanted to do is, today if I am a traditional project manager or program manager, how do I transform myself to take up the role of, let's say, product manager or scrum master or product owner or things like that, right? So they really wanted to move from traditional roles, many roles, to agile relevant roles. So what we did is, of course, as I mentioned, they had already embarked on their IT transformation journey. They were really making some good headways. They were able to deliver MVPs and lot many other things. But this was purely driven with HR, the enablement function being the focal point. So what we did is we really wanted to understand the organization better. The organization we are talking, it was about 18,000 plus people. It had multiple vendors, with TCS one of the very strategic partner. They already had agile management office center of excellence. So we had already started training their CXOs, about 10 plus. So what we did is we really wanted to understand their organization better. If they talk about field manager, who is responsible for laying down fiber cable within the city, what is the role and responsibility that person is handling? So first, we started with the entire cross section of the organization, which started from their executives, test manager, product manager, program manager, the testers, the developers, maybe their risk department, their compliance department. So we kind of took about 500 of a pilot size. We took the entire cross section, and then of course we did a lot of interviews. We did a lot of surveys, and when I say surveys, actually we had to be little cautious also because of GDPR compliance and all. So we really had to ensure the confidential information that we are gathering, it stays the same. Of course, not everything in agile world can be understood by simple interviews or surveys, right? So we did many coffee connects. We did a lot of workshops to really understand what do they do. And some of the insights that we got when we talk about field manager, it's very easy. It was very easy for me as an enterprise agile coach or consultant to say, maybe you use scaled agile or you use Kanban or Scrum. But when you go and talk to them, you will realize that they don't even know about agile. Forget about Scrum or Kanban or something. So for these people, how do you motivate them? How do you engage with them so that they can move towards more agile ready roles, right? So first of all, after all these things, we created about 14 plus personas to really understand their organization better and move. This is one of the very interesting model. This is more of a Wisconsin's model. It says that if you really want to make any transformation, even for the students' mindset or employees or professionals, there are three things that needs to be focused on. whether the person has will as in the person is really willing, a desire to lead, or it could be role transformation, right? Second, once you know that yes, the person is really aspiring to move to that role, how do you fill? I mean, what are the gaps? What are the competency gaps? What are the hard skills that person need to have? Soft skills that person need to have? And how do you make that person gain the cultural knowledge so that they fit into the organization or any system that they are part of? And skill. Once skill is not just about giving them technological or domain or any kind of process guidance. It's more about providing that environment wherein they are able to leverage, they are able to do hands-on, and they are able to apply the knowledge, right? So how I think this is will, fill, and skill. This is the model that we tried, and I think it worked really well. Of course, it's not easy when you, I mean, it's on one hand, it's very easy to say that yes, we want to transform this entire organization and we want to make them agile ready. We want to transform many of the non-agile roles into agile roles. But what are the considerations? You cannot simply tomorrow you go ahead and say now all of the project manager gets tagged to as the product owner. All of the team managers gets tagged as a scrum master. It doesn't work that way, right? And even if you have to make them learn new skills, you really have to understand their learning patterns. How do they learn? If I give my example, right, or my preferences, as I mentioned, I used to be an avid reader and globetrotter. So my preference would be that when I'm waiting at the airport lounge, maybe I would like to go through, some of the videos, small YouTube videos, or in fact, we have many nano videos, small nano micro content that you say, right? I would like to consume that. In fact, in Mumbai, if I give you an example, there are many of my friends who used to take one way, 1.5 hour of journey. So maybe when they are traveling by bus or train, they would like to go through some of the content. So we really, out of all the things that we did, we asked them, how do you like to learn? What are your preferences? Language affinity. Of course, many of the people would be comfortable in English. But if I talk about many of the customers that I deal with in Latam region, they don't understand English. Maybe they would like to learn everything in Spanish. If I talk about UK and Europe, the language affinity could be Dutch and French. So here also we tried and understand what is the language affinity. Are they really comfortable for English only courses, or do they need something else? What kind of experience they are carrying, right? Uh, Second thing, for example, it's very easy for us to say that here your scrum master, product owner, or even your release train engineer and such roles. But how do you tell a person who is in that field for more than 25 years to take up the product owner role? Probably he may feel that this is very team level, the basic foundational role. How can I take up, give away my 25 years of experience and take that? So when you do that, even though the person doesn't have the skills of product owner or scrum master, you really have to give them some consideration, some advantage of the overall experience that they are having. And as I mentioned, hard skills, soft skills, what are the platforms they will be comfortable with? So many considerations, and I think it has been one memorable, very intensive exercise that we did, and more we knew that we did not know anything, right? So it was that kind of a situation we were in. But yeah, we moved on, and they of course had certain committee of practices that were already established. So the idea was not to give them completely new, but idea was to leverage what they already had. They already had embarked on some of the design thinking courses and coaching framework and all. So again, the idea was to go hand in hand, work with them, what could fit in, what are the things that will not work in new way of working, new organization, what are the courses that we should help them to gain, how do we help them to come up with the training catalog, which is again a mix of very different types of learning. It has instructor led training, it has some kind of interactive sessions, it has more of the experiential learning, it has more of the guidance from the people who are having that practical experience and things like that. And then of course, how do we map this future role definitions, which as I mentioned, it could have hard skills, it could have soft skills, it could have some of the things which absolutely must in order for somebody to take up that role. there could be some other skills which could be gained on the job, right? So a lot of considerations that we did, and finally we thought for that particular organization, we came up with about 11 agile roles. Totally, as I mentioned, while the aim was the larger entire organization changing, of course we wanted to start with pilot. And when all these things were put into practice, the pilot had about 4,000 plus people impacted by the training that were given, the community of practices that were created, and a lot of things. And again, this is not to keep aside the business that they were delivering. Here also, I have mentioned some of the IT outcome only, as you can see it. But today that customer is one of the leading customer in that region who is working on laying out the 5G network and fiber rollout, right? So what I'm trying to say that whatever changes, whatever exercises, whatever interactions that were done, that was actually to help sustain, accelerate the business that they were into. So as I mentioned, this is still one of the leading telecom customer. It really helped as an organization to move on a fast pace to the organization that they wanted to be, to work in a much more close collaboration with the entire organization. How do they kind of establish the objectives, key results, or the vision that they had, and make sure that even the minute level of team member is aware about it. How do they know that what were the organization priority, and make sure that whatever interactions, whatever communication they are doing, everybody's on the same page, right? So what I'm saying that this is not really about HR saying that okay, I'm using Kanban, I'm using Scrum, or I'm doing daily stand-up meeting. No, that's not what Agile for HR means. Agile for HR means that how they are able to transform the entire organization in such a way of working wherein they become a very fast enabler for the IT, because ultimately all of these business objectives that you say, it is going to be delivered by IT in collaboration with the business, right? So how do they give that jump start to their IT organization to help them sustain and enable? And this journey hasn't ended, that is still continuing. And of course the focus is how same behavior or same experience can be replicated, can be enabled in many more organizations. So I think that's where pretty much the entire journey continues, not only for that customer, for many more customers, and my own organization internally as a TCS. So with that, probably I would take a pause here, and maybe we can take up any questions if you guys have.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Preeti, for sharing your experiences. I see two questions out here. Let's take it one by one. And if anybody is having more questions, please feel free to put in questions here. Preeti, one question is by Ashwini. He's asking, can you throw some light on performance appraisal in Agile HR? As team goals are prescribed in Agile, however, individual is still assessed on his or her ability to meet established performance goals for the individual. So basically, he's asking for performance appraisal in Agile HR.
Sure. So I think my outlook, or what I have seen or observed, is like this. It doesn't mean that the individual appraisal or the performance evaluation goes away, right? Definitely it has to be there, because that's what employees get rewarded for, right? Or that's what they get acknowledged for. So that will continue. However, the focus is slowly shifting from somebody being just thinking about individual. Okay, the person is an architect and he gets evaluated only purely on the technical skills, or the customers that person has helped and things like that. Now whether that person as an architect is able to really work cohesively with not only his team but multiple teams, let's say, and if he or she is able to help achieve that outcome. So the essence is how it becomes a combination of individual goal as well as the team level goal. now when you talk about the huge focus on whether team is able to do value delivery, right? So rather than having all the goals as an individual, can some of more goals can be included which talks about really the value that as a team they were able to deliver, or the soft skills could be, is the person really able to bring out the innovative aspects in their way of working, is the person able to communicate really well. So the way I see it is multiple ways this can be done, and of course this is still a very interesting and very deep topic. I don't think even I'm the right person to kind of say that this is how it should be done, but this is what I have observed across organizations.
Sure,
Yeah, I hope
Preeti.
answered your question. Yeah.
Yeah, Ashwini, we hope that you got the answer for your question. Um, we have a next question by Amar. He's asking how effective is training and certification in converting BA team leads and PM into PO, SM, or Agile coach?
Sure. Again, very, very interesting topic, I would say. And it is very difficult to answer in a couple of minutes, because what I have observed, as I mentioned, more we thought we knew about this subject, more of the journey we went into, we started realizing that we don't know anything, right? And we were already, already enterprise agile coach and consultant. We had already dealt with multiple customers. See, one of the interesting aspect is, it's not like 1+1 becomes 2. It's not easy that be a tech lead can straight away go into some of the training and can straight away become the product owner, or let's say scrum master, or even the other. Typically all these roles are kind of combination of multiple things. One is, if any person has been a very customer facing role, right, be a by nature of their job they are very much working in close collaboration with customer, does the person like really to be part of new value discovery? Does he or she understand the market better? Does he or she like to continue to work on the vision that the product or service is going to provide, right? If these are some kind of attributes that person really loves about their job, maybe he or she may be more appropriate as a product owner. Again, the idea here is not to categorize them right away, but this could be some indicators. Another example could be, if as a person I'm more people friendly, I like to solve people's impediments, I really like to be in a position to help them, mentor them, coach them, then by nature of my personal affinity itself, maybe I'm more apt for that career path. I'm not saying Scrum Master. Typically, if you see, one is the technical job profile affinity, another is process affinity, wherein you can think of your Scrum Master, your release train engineer, and all those people fit in. The other is content authority or content aspect, wherein you like to uncover new stories, you like to understand more about business. Then probably it makes you a more natural fit as a product owner. So to answer your question, it's not very simple thing saying that a business be a tech lead can straight away transform into Scrum Master or product owner or something. There are so many considerations that needs to be done to help a person realize their career aspiration, career roadmap, and they can be converted. Yanpur.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for shedding some light on that. Let's move on to the next question by Asi Goyal. He's asking, what do you think about using empathy way to know needs of the people?
True. So I think maybe I did not cover in detail, but the very first analysis we had done about coming up with personas, right? There we had used a lot of, any interviews, interactions that I mentioned. The essential idea was to really empathize with them, understand their personas. As I mentioned, it was very easy for me to think as a enterprise agile coach and consultant, oh, everybody should be aware about scaled agile. or they should be talking about Scrum and Kanban. When you think that the person may not even be coming to office, and I'm talking about pre-COVID era, right? They just comes to office only once or twice, and the rest of the time they are on the roads making sure that fiber gets laid out very carefully, right? How do you understand their personas? How do you understand their behavior? They don't know nothing about Agile, and they don't even need to, right? There I cannot go ahead and say that you start implementing Scrum and Kanban. What are the practices, what are the behavioral aspects they imbibe that will make them much more effective in the role? That is what is needed, right? So to answer your question, these were some of the things without naming, okay, we are creating personas for you, we are having empathy map for you, but these were some of the inherent solution element that we used anyway.
Right, right. I mean, that's a good point. Without naming it that we are showing empathy,
Correct.
we need to
Yep.
do it. Okay. So, Preeti, I have a question here. See, Agile talks about people over processes, right? Processes and tools.
True.
And HR is a role which deals with people and processes. So, how to strike a good balance out there as per your experience?
I think probably it will take years for me to answer that adequately, Nupur. But I feel that the idea, I mean, in my experience, since 2009, I have felt that it is always a good idea not to be really cautious about all these values and principles and all that stuff. It's really the foundation stone, it's really the backbone. But when you are creating a home, you don't really think about it consciously, right? When you are learning driving, you think, okay, I'm talking about this brake, or I'm talking about this. When you really master the art, you don't think about it, right? So essentially, to answer your question, I think that it's not this or that, right? It's very easy to say Agile principle says, but whenever you are talking about something, right? It's not you are choosing people only or process, but whenever you are thinking about even process, are you really considering the people who are involved in, right? For example, the exercise, entire exercise that I mentioned, we really wanted to transform them into agile roles. That was the organizational goal. And we really wanted to lay down a very strong foundation of processes that will work in that organization, right? Even if it is for a community of practice. But when you do that, how do you understand your audience better? Right, I think that's where the people part takes little over than the process part. So how to balance, I would think that that would vary from situation to situation, but as long as you keep, we always talk about customer centricity, but if you keep people centricity in mind, I think even if your focus is more on processes, both will come as a much more cohesive solution.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your experiences around it, Preeti. We have a next question by Priyank who's asking, what is the role of environment and support for agile success? And what if the environment and support changes?
See, I think I don't know if I understood your question right when you say the environment changes, but I think more and more organizations are now realizing that it's not just enough to provide nice offices, latest laptops, and technology trainings to employees. It is much more important. I mean, on one hand, we can preach all about that innovation and growth and transformation is part of it, but are we really providing that enabling environment day in day out, right? For example, a couple of steps I can mention from my own organization. You will keep on seeing many more, hackathons or day in, day out. In fact, if you talk about our ITIS department, how even the very small thing as laptop provisioning can be looked at much more from the value stream mapping perspective. And you see that even the ITS department, we did not take them through all of the agile courses. That's not even needed. We did not make them certified skilled agile product owner or programmer. That's not even needed. The focus was more on how do we help them understand the elements. So we have a concept called living agile, wherein we take problem statement, help them focus on the solution, and that's how it works. So essentially what I'm trying to say that the idea is make them do it rather than saying preach about any theoretical aspect. More people undergo themselves. It's more about being agile. So as long as any organization can provide enabling environment which supports innovation, which supports the continual improvement, which really acknowledges the people for the mentoring and coaching they are doing. I think that's what is important. I think probably more, as I mentioned, more and more organizations are already realizing. So I would see that very less organizations are now not realizing the potential that HR has to play, right?
Okay. So moving on to the next question, Preeti. When talking about HR going agile, what are the training recommended for customers? Is there anything that you specifically mentioned?
See, typically what we have seen working well, and I'm talking about not just this case, many customers, what really works for them is we try and do joint workshop with them, and which is again based on living agile. Because I personally am a very big, fan of the impact it creates. It's not about giving them training. It's not about really, taking them through fundamental. Is more about imbibing and inheriting agile way of working in anything and everything they do. It could be identifying the right problem also, wherein you will use design thinking, empathy maps, persona analysis and all. Again, everything without naming it. You cannot go and tell customer, okay, now we are going to use persona analysis for you. We are going to do empathy map. That becomes part and parcel of how you deal with them, right? Then of course we take them through a couple of days or a couple of hours depending on what is the problem statement we are trying to solve, and we kind of get into living agile session. We help them realize that how the importance of particular couple of hours or even half day or one day is very important. The focus how it should be, even if it is a very basic outcome or output or MVP, how they have to deal with it. Very simple example I'll give. One of the living agile session we had done, it was all about attrition. And that is a very sensitive, very confidential, very touchy subject, right? So, of course, any organization would want to lay down very strong processes around the same. How do they connect with people? How they try and retain them? What are the conversations they can have? How do they help ensure the last processes or handover becomes smooth, right? So the idea is we asked HR not to think about processes beforehand. Start interacting with people, identify the gaps, identify the challenges they are facing, why they are moving. And I think that kind of thing becomes very important. So maybe I gave a long answer, but for customers also, I don't see one or two straight away recommendation. It really depends on the customer, their designation, their role, the responsibility they are playing, at which juncture of partnership you are with, and then it becomes much more context specific. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, understand. Yeah, understand, Preeti. Preeti, could you tell about the most probable challenge any organization would face when going or opting for this kind of a transformation in organization? Which is the most common or most probable kind of challenge?
Most probable challenge I have always heard is we are already agile. We don't know, we don't need anything else. I mean, we are already delivering outcome. Oh, we are using Scrum and Kanban, we use whiteboard, we do daily stand-up meetings. I think no matter how many times we say, mindset is still the biggest risk. That is still the biggest challenge. Another big challenge I face is the kind of sensitiveness or security insecurity employees feel, right? It's not very easy. If I'm the enterprise agile coach and consultant today, if somebody tells me that tomorrow onwards you are product owner or product manager, it's not easy as a transition for me, right? I am definitely, as a human, I'm going to feel insecure about it. So in my mind, I mean, I have faced that mindset and challenge, thinking that we are already agile, not really be ready for transformation is biggest challenge. And second thing is the insecurity that people may have about their job or role profile or something.
So that thinking that we are already agile is probably the most common challenge. Let's move on to the next question, Preeti. Is people only responsibility of HR function? That looks like an interesting question.
It's very interesting, and maybe I would like to ask the person who asked the question, what do you think?
Think not, but what is your thought around it, Preeti?
Yeah, so I agree with your answer. You think no? I think that the people is not just HR's responsibility. People is everybody's responsibility. Think about a very simple example. Today, do you think there are many volunteers who are doing volunteer work, many organizations doing, many organizations, including TCS, we have established a COVID center. There are TCS branches wherein employees are taking the vaccination, right? Now, of course, HR is still a very big force, very big enabler in making sure. But do you really think that that is the responsibility of only HR to take care of? And vaccination, it's not even their primary part of responsibility. All that chakra that I mentioned about 12 responsibilities, does it mention anywhere? No, probably no. So I think it's the collective responsibility even for me as a team member to see if my peer is not feeling well, or maybe he or she has a lot of apprehension about her career. In fact, many women in TCS reach out to me who are at a juncture wherein they should continue with the job, they should quit, or maybe they are unable to balance personal professional life, right? They don't go to HR, or even if they go to HR, they still come to me because they think maybe venting out, understanding somebody who has been there, done there would be useful. So I think to answer a question, I don't think it's only HR's responsibility. I think now gone are the days wherein everything is confined to a role. It's more about the attributes, it's more about the responsibility. So if I can do mentoring or coaching, if I can take care of my people, 100 people who are part of my team, maybe I'm playing a little bit minute role of HR. I don't have to be HR to take care of them, right?
Yeah. Thank you. And we have 2 minutes in hand, so let's try taking one more question before we close. So let me just look at the questions. Yeah. So what is the role of people in HR function, Preeti?
You tell me. It's I would think that it's like the role of heart in the entire body, right? I mean, human resource, and in fact, to be very frank, I don't like even the word resource. It gives a feeling that we are talking about some hardware or software. No, not like that. I think people's role. Forget about HR. Anything that you take, even if you take let's say education, the role that teacher plays for students or student plays even for teachers learning, right? It's crucial. So I feel that this is the heart and the soul of any organization, not just HR. It could be anything, but they are at the center. As I mentioned, customer centricity would definitely come as long as your employees are happy. The people who are happy, they deliver the best, right? So that is the heart and soul of any organization. Forget only limited to HR.
All right. Thank you, Preeti. We have 1 more minute left. If you would to quickly answer one question that we had, how how to introduce this kind of a change to the management or the leadership? How do you introduce?
I think best way for them to understand and realize is to go through some workshops, some living agile sessions by themselves. And believe me, all of the executives or top leaders I have dealt with, they really do understand. I have not met any leader in recent past who doesn't really understand the value of people. I've seen the ISU heads, the business group heads, really checking on each and everybody's health, well-being, and aspect, right? So I feel to answer a question, in my view, there is no need to justify or even explain. Now everybody knows why agile is important. Everybody knows why people is important, because ultimately these are the people who deliver. I really believe in Daniel Pink's theory, autonomy, mastery, and purpose. At times it may happen our middle layer could be so much occupied with their operational challenges, even if they realize they may not be able to give time. But I don't think there is any question about people not realizing that.
Sure. Thank you, Preeti. With that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you so much for
Sure.
joining us today and sharing some valuable insights. And
Sure.
thank you for giving some amazing answers